Good to see you, everyone. My name is Robbie Howell, and we got a DLC announcement recently for Age of Empires 2. I have some thoughts about it. I was meaning to share them with you guys a couple days ago, but unfortunately, I have been sick, and so I'm getting this to you as soon as I possibly can because I think there is a lot that we need to talk about with this particular DLC, and I will not be the first to state that I am intensely disappointed with it. As such, no harm, no foul if you wish to skip this video, either for that reason or because you don't want to listen to my shitty, sick voice talking. I'd like to begin this discussion with an analogy that I'm sure will ensnare my primary demographic perfectly, namely a comparison to the cosmetics industry. Something that crops up semi-frequently is when celebrities will repackage name brand product, put their own logo on it, and resell it at a markup. Where am I going with this? Well, I would argue it's quite comparable to what has happened to us with the most recent AoE 2 DLC, or at least as they have announced it during the most recent live stream. We have a package of, 19 scenarios created by the fantastic creator Filthydelphia, and 5 of them are new. 5. Yes, the older ones are getting touch-ups, they're getting voice acting, all that is lovely. We love all that. But 5 new things and paywalling 13 existing things that have been a part of the game in some cases for many years and are part of the legacy of one of the game's most beloved creators. Don't get me wrong though, campaign DLCs are a fantastic idea. I've been advocating for these for well over a year now, and I think that good campaign DLCs could be one of the best ways to monetize single-player only players of the game, of whom there is a substantial category, while also providing value to a whole lot of other players who want more than just competitive ladder. Also, do not get me wrong, Ramsey Abdulrahim, also known as Filthydelphia, is a fantastic creator. I do not hold him at any fault in what has happened. He now works at World's Edge / Microsoft. I wouldn't be surprised if he was strong-armed into doing this. The idea that he would paywall 13 beloved scenarios and then also offer another 5 just to sweeten the deal just doesn't seem like something he would do and doesn't really comport with how he has behaved himself within the community up to this point. So I am 95% sure that he was strong-armed into this. Regardless, however, that doesn't change the point that these were 13 pieces of free content that are now behind a price tag. When my Discord community and I were initially brainstorming what a campaign DLC could hold in store, a lot of people were saying, yeah, we want at least 3 new campaigns that are at least 6 scenarios long. 18 scenarios. 18 scenarios of new content was what the lower end benchmark was for what people were expecting for this thing. We're getting 13 old scenarios and 5 new ones. We're getting 5, less than 1/3 of the proposed minimum baseline that people had been discussing for this idea. Now, could you say, yeah, well, your Discord community is full of shit? Kinda, yeah, we are kind of full of shit, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that we're not potential consumers who don't have a valid say in what our money is put towards. And so we're getting less than 1/3 of the content that we initially theorized that we might be getting. A normal DLC, after all, usually gives you at least 15 brand new scenarios on top of new civilizations. And so we're only getting less than 1/3 of that. And how much should we be paying for that? $13 fucking dollars? Oh, pardon me, $11 after a disc. $13 fucking dollars? A $2 markdown from the DLC that we just saw that many people are saying is blatantly overpriced? What the actual ever-loving fuck is this? I'll be honest here. This is, in my eyes, a blatant, bald-faced attempt to scalp the community, particularly the single-player only players. This is a slap in the face to them. This is the first DLC that has truly targeted them, and they are expected to pay almost as much for less than 1/3 of the content. That is insane. It's ridiculous. And even if you want to tell me, oh, these scenarios are way bigger than what you'd find in a normal campaign, they have so much replay value. Yeah, sure, and 2/3 of them were fucking free. It does not change the fact that this is ridiculous levels of price gouging. I would say maybe this DLC, maybe, is worth $5 if you're stretching it. And that is no dig at Filthydelphia. He's a fantastic creator. If you were to say, oh, 18 new Filthydelphia scenarios, I'd say, yeah, $13, it's on the high end. But out of respect to the guy, sure, I'll pay that. But how much of that profit is going to him? My guess is very little. He's a salaried employee. I would far prefer if creators in the mod workshop were able to monetize their own work, such that you could pay them directly with Microsoft getting a cut. More sustainable business practice for Microsoft, better for the content creators, and for the community who says, oh, what about all of our free stuff? You can still put stuff out for free, and if people are making dog shit and trying to monetize it, then ban their asses and refund the clients, or make it so that you can only monetize after you've achieved a certain level of notoriety on the page. That seems perfectly reasonable to me. I think the worst part about all this is the intense disappointment that it brings me. This campaign DLC had so much potential to open the door to new types of content for the game. What if it allowed us to have like rotating single player experiences or something to keep those single player people coming back month after month? What if it opened the door to new civilizations being added or old ones getting better representation, monetization for creators like I was saying? And above all else, on top of disappointment, this gives me a good amount of unease in the direction that Age of Empires 2 is heading, because a cash grab of this nature, and I do believe it is a cash grab, to me signals a substantial lack of belief in the game's future. This feels like an exit strategy more than signaling confidence in Age of Empires' long-term health and well-being as a game, which is ridiculous. The thing has lasted 25 fucking years. The only thing that's going to torpedo it now is mismanagement and gouging, and that is what I am seeing. Now, look at these numbers. I just pulled this up on Steam. Over the last, year-ish, we have 20,000 players in-game at a time, with 30,000 almost being a peak. Does that look like a dying game? Look at that graph. Does that look like the graph of a dying game? Only time you start to see it taper off is when people start to realize that they're getting frickin' gouged. And even if World's Edge, or more likely Microsoft, are saying, oh, this thing is making no money at all, we got to find ways to monetize it further. Paid cosmetics, I don't care. League of Legends does it. The way to do it is not to gouge people on core content. Add other dongles they can add on that they can spend money on if they want to spend money. Make that store monetization scheme I was mentioning earlier, and do it right. Otherwise, you're going to have another ride on your hands, because a game's longevity, or at least an RTS's longevity, is in large proportion based on how good its editor is. And I've said this for years, and I'll continue saying it, so don't fuck that up either, please. So yeah, does this look like the graph of a dying game? I don't frickin' think so. But clearly, whatever idiot manager set the price for this thing thinks that it is, and thinks that they need to suck more money out of it and drain player confidence in the process. Now, I've been dunking on World's Edge a bit. I think it's more likely Microsoft is at fault. This thumbnail aged well. Better not cost $10. No, it costs more than $10, Robbie. You simpleton. But honestly, my ire here is not directed at World's Edge, and it's especially, like I said, not directed at Philadelphia. I think it's more likely that some manager in Microsoft is making this a problem. A much bigger problem than it needs to be. World's Edge have done okay, if not quite well with this game, and I'm glad that they are the developers. I'm not glad of whoever is calling the shots in how the game's monetization and roadmap is going. And that's why I wanted to make this video. Do what you wish with this upcoming DLC. I will not be buying this. Now, besides this disappointment DLC, we got some other news. I'll go through it quickly. For one, shocker, the new mobile game looks cheap and derivative. Why am I looking at a throwing axeman from the largely 7th and 8th century wearing fucking 14th and 15th century French cavalry armor? This is mind-numbingly stupid. And why does he have an intelligence stat? At least it's low. That's accurate at the very least. Oh yeah, he has high speed. What about this armor says high speed? Moronic. I fucking hate mobile games, or at least how they are managed. I'm sure there's a way to make a mobile game good, but the way that the mobile game landscape looks now makes me want to play one about as much as I want to stick carpet tacks in my toenails. And on top of that, we got Age of Mythology news. The new graphics look cool, though, for whatever goddamn reason. That set animal has been interpreted as a bandicoot. Thank you, Tomas, for pointing that out. But at the very least, I know that someone's going to be happy to see Set in his new form. So, a happy end to a largely unhappy live stream. I have personally never been quite as disappointed in the game, nor have I been as uncertain as to its future than back in the Voobly days. But at the very least, I can say that this game has lived and died on the back of its community for a very long time, and I think it will continue to do so. I sure as shit won't be going anywhere, at least not for the foreseeable future. and I hope you won't be either. Age of Empires 2 has hibernated before, and if that's what we're in for, then so be it. The game will live on. Plus, there's a good chance I'm overreacting. One shitty DLC does not an entire trend make. It's just something that's been nagging at me that I wanted to share with you because I feel like it needed to be said. But let's end on a happy note. Since we are being told that we need to pay $13 to play 5 good scenarios, I'd like to know what are some of your favorite custom campaigns, including the name of the creator. Share them down below in the comments, and I'm going to try to put together a video that can showcase a bunch of the ones that are out there, and hopefully direct people looking for nice, good, free content away from this price gouging nonsense. And thank you so much to my Discord server and all the fine people on there for keeping me posted on how the live stream was going and what was being shown off in it, and giving me so much input for this video. I really appreciate your patience, everyone. I'm sorry again for the sorry state of my voice, and I have a big project planned with a couple of YouTube channels that you might know that was supposed to release this week, but because of this, we're going to be doing it next week instead. Thank you all so much for bearing with me. I apologize for the negativity. But until next time, my name is Robbie Howell, and ciao for now.